What is up, YouTube? Good morning. So, it is Wednesday, the 9th of July, and it is leg day. Now, I'm going to take you through the full session today. I'm going to take you through my thoughts. I'm going to just run you through kind of where I'm currently at. So, I think the last time I filmed was maybe 3 weeks ago. So, as you're going to be able to see from then, I'm a good bit leaner now. For me, this is very, very, very close to kind of where I'm going to finish the diet. It's my birthday next Saturday, so this will probably come out before it is my birthday. So make sure you fucking tell me happy birthday on the 19th of July if you don't. But anyway, the goal for me now is just to kind of just see how far I can take this over the next, 10-ish days before I begin to reverse out. 8 days probably is what it will likely be. But the goal for me is very, very, very simple. It is literally just to do what people say that they do. And it is just to walk the walk, Fitness, life, business, nothing really changes for me. And the reason I'm probably only going to go on until next weekend is because I can start to feel that I'm getting too consumed by my own process, that I don't want to let it take away from anything else in my life, in the sense of relationships, in the sense of business, So for me, pushing past and beyond this point, especially when I am coaching myself, it just really doesn't really make much sense, because the time I'm spending, on my own process versus spending time coaching my clients to make them the best versions of themselves, I don't want to be that person that takes away all of that energy and places it in the wrong places. As I have big visions for where I want to take my brand over the next 12 months. I have big visions for where I want my life to be over the next 12 months. And with all of those things in mind, I do not want to jeopardize what it is that I'm trying to achieve. And wasting time, wasting days is not something that I have the capacity to do. I simply just cannot do that. I really, really, really cannot waste time faffing about focusing on something that is, in the grand scheme of things, is not important at all. Now, this is not to say that I'm not still going to focus on my physique. I'm not still going to focus on development of myself as a person, because that would be a lie. However, I don't want my journey to jeopardize the effort, the time, the focus, more importantly, that I put into my clients. I'll be honest, when you're coaching 60 plus people, 70 people plus you're spending time on yourself and you're trying to make conscious decisions around what it is that you need to do around your journey, it just doesn't allow for me to have capacity to make conscientious decisions where I don't feel like I will fuck something up with someone, whether it be myself, whether it be a client. And with a client, for me, that's much, much, much more important that the delivery to them is of the highest standards. So I've got to this point, I pulled off 10 kilos from my heaviest, and I wasn't out of shape when I started this, but I pulled off 10 kilos from my heaviest, and I'm now in a position where I don't want to. I would love to pull off more. I would love to get, striated glutes from top to bottom. But one, what is the purpose? Because looking good on Instagram and actually attaining business are not the same thing. There's plenty of guys that don't get on stage that have got fantastic businesses. There's also plenty of guys that do get on stage that have got fantastic businesses. Now, because I'm not a competitor, taking my physique to the competitor level conditioning doesn't really make much sense, because all that brings in is people that want to compete, they're inspired. And yes, I still love working with competitors, but that's not my sole focus. So being a little bit more relatable in terms of the condition that I hold year round, I think it's something that I want to do. And I'm pretty certain that I can hold this condition year round. And I actually heard a guy, Joe Cross, talk about this the other week. I can't remember if I heard him or if I read a post, but he said since he stepped away from bodybuilding, he's pretty much always been going for a goal. So I often find maintenance extremely hard, because I'm like, what does maintaining actually look like as a phase? And to me, it's just standing still. So what I think I'm going to do is 4 weeks will be in a surplus, or 8 weeks will be in a surplus, 12 weeks will be in a small surplus. It'll be a 4-week diet, 3-week diet after that. So push up maybe 2 or 3 kilos, come back down to 2 or 3 kilos. Push up 2 or 3 kilos, come back down to 2 or 3 kilos. Obviously, still having some anabolics present in my system, I'm pretty confident that with that I can still build tissue and I can still improve my physique, and who knows, I might get to September time and I might say I want to push it again, and that's totally okay. One thing that's important to understand on this journey is that it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to not know exactly what it is you want from life, but the only thing that's not okay is to do nothing. So for me, when I don't know what it is that I want to do, I get lean. When I know that I want to get bigger, I go into a bulk, I go into a surplus, and that's the beauty of this, is there's always something that you can be striving for, there's always something that you can be trying to improve, So I think for me this is all about just being a better person and just being someone that leads from the front. I don't want to be that guy that's fat, that's out of shape and is telling people how to get in shape. I truly do believe that in order to be an authoritative figure in this industry, you have to at least walk the walk. You have to have at least got yourself into good shape. You have to have at least competed. I'm not saying you've got to be a seasoned competitor to... Fuck off, mate. Dickhead. Trying to race me. Yeah, later, bruv. Oh, fucking prick. Anyway, as I was saying, I'm not someone that thinks you've got to be, a IFBB pro to have a good business. I know plenty of IFBB pros that don't have a good business, but I do not feel right as a human telling people to do something that I have not done. So I have done 800 calories a day. I have done hours of cardio a day. I have done 20,000 steps a day. There's not a single thing that you can tell me to do or I can tell a client to do that I have not done. And the reason I do that, and the reason I've experimented on myself over the last 2 years, 18 months, is so that I have the depth of knowledge to know that doing that thing will not break me, but it will break some people. And that then allows me to make better decisions around what it is and how it is that we approach that person to get to their journey. I think the most important thing when it comes to kind of fat loss as well, and this is something that's widely debated, but when it comes to calories in, calories out, I can categorically say with 100% certainty that calories in, calories out, yes, it's important, and yes, that is thermodynamics. However, there is not so much, I've not really experienced it in males, but there is an extreme level of variance when it comes to caloric needs of a human that is seemingly of a similar size, shape, height, gender to someone else. I've had guys that are 70 kilos diet on less food than a lady that's 45 kilos. Now, how does that happen? And how is there so much variance? Now, you cannot tell me that there isn't you can't tell me that there's not, that calories in, calories out is all that matters, when I've seen that. I've coached it. You know, a guy that's 70 kilos should not have to get to 1,000 calories. He shouldn't have to get to 1,500 calories even. He shouldn't have to get to fucking hours of cardio and high steps. But I've seen it happen. And you shouldn't have a 45 kilo lady that's eating 2,000 calories a day and getting fucking peeled. That doesn't make sense on paper if we look at calories in, calories out. So for me, the whole reason of me doing what I've done over the last couple of years is to experiment with myself, is to see, can I down-regulate things? Can I get my body being less efficient with fat loss? Can I do things that are going to mean that I can see what it's like living in a body that's resistant to things, or a body that's super responsive to things, you know? So I'm a firm believer in, if someone has never walked the walk in any sense, I struggle to see how they can willingly advise and confidently, with morals, advise someone else. So basically what I'm saying is, I'm a human fucking guinea pig. There's not a lot that I haven't tried. There's not a lot that I won't try when it comes to fitness, when it comes to peptides, when it comes to fucking steroids. There's not a lot. And the reason I do this is so that I know the best way to pave the journey for my people in the safest way possible. I'm okay with taking years off my life, and this probably sounds crazy. I'm okay with taking years off my life to feel fulfilled and to feel satisfied with. I don't want to be that person that lays in their deathbed on their final days and said, I wish I had done this. I don't want to be that guy. And if that means that my life is 10 years, my life ends 10 years earlier than what it maybe could have, fine, because I'll have lived a life of fulfillment, and that's all that matters to me. So yeah, I am going to go to the gym. I've got a couple of PT clients. I'm then going to do an early leg day because I've had 2 clients cancel, so I'm going to fit my session in there. I will take you through the leg day. I'll take you through my thoughts in the leg day if I get time. If I don't, then I will just do a voiceover. We're into legs. I've got 1 hour to train, and what you'll see is I don't need a lot of time. But 2 sets of adductor, 1 set on the leg press, 2 sets on the leg extension, and 2 sets on the single leg press. So now we're just going to get stuck straight into it. So a couple warm-up sets here. All I think right here is just squeeze in, get right into the hamstrings. Now I'm going to get straight into the warm-up sets because I don't have time to figure it out. I'm going to show you can get after it, get a lot done in an hour. And the most important thing to building legs, to growing tissue, is intensity. See? Probably need 3 hours of training. Work for super strong, probably 3 hours. I'm neither of this, so I don't need 3 hours. 1 hour, get in, can get the work done. Get back to reality, which is coaching and eating. Right, let's find a warm up. But I will get at least 1 work. Can't see the level of intensity we're trying to. Set 3. Last set I actually lost a rep, but it felt better. Execution felt better, tempo felt better, stimulus felt better. So for me that's still progression. And I think this is one thing that we need to not get caught up on when we are chasing logbook, when we are dieting especially, is if we adjust our form to get the rep or to chase maintaining numbers, you actually find you piss away muscle because you're losing such stimulus just by chucking the weight that you're not actually giving that muscle any stimulus to be retained. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm actually trying to reset my execution a little bit.
pause in the stretch, little pause in the hold. And I'm just making sure that all the tension is in my hamstrings. So my hamstrings are fucked. I've done 2 sets. My hamstrings are fucking killing me. So that to me says that these 2 sets that I did do have been highly stimulatory. Even if numbers haven't progressed and they've regressed, the actual stimulation has potentially increased, which is what we want. Now, I'm not using a ton of anabolics, not sleeping great. All of these things are going to come into my ability to recover and potentially recovery being hindered. So I'm going to kind of auto-regulate this session a little bit, see how my adductors go. Leg press I'm definitely going to reset, as I was getting fucking stupid with the numbers on there. And to be honest, I don't really want to rack and unrack the weights. And then I'm probably going to pull a set of the single leg press out. So you'll see the session is super, super short. 3 sets here, 2 sets there, 1 set there, 2 sets, and then 1 set. So it's at 3, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sets total. 9 sets of stimulation, and I'll show you my legs at the end. So if you guys think you have to do high volume, this is 10 sets for legs once a week. And my legs look alright. Now, probably looking at it, I think I'll add one more. This is where, for me, at this point in the diet, taking those 50-50 reps, those reps where I might do it, I might not, they don't make any sense. If I did not got that rep, I've incurred additional muscle damage that I've then got to recover from, just for a little bit of progression. And at this point in the diet, when I'm as lean as I am, calories as low as I am, expenditure as high as it is, sleep as shit, I'm not going to be building tissue. And I'm very, very, very aware of that. So being smart with the reps that I do and don't take is super important. Super, super, super fucking important. So that was still maintained with better stimulus. So that is still progression. Yeah. Right, well, adductors done. I did a press record. But anyway, what I was saying is, when we look at training adductors, I think the most important thing is, a lot of people do this, and I'll try and overlay a clip of me not doing it, is we want to try and keep our torso elongated and our core relaxed. If you flex your core, flex your obliques. If you look at the insertion and origins of our adductors and our obliques, you can kind of see they cross over the hip. So I crunch down onto my abs and I crunch down onto my obliques, I'm able to actually take away load from my adductors, place some of the tension through the obliques. So if you're super, super strong on adductors and you want to make it harder because your machine isn't heavy enough, elongate your torso, make it so that it's just the adductor moving the load. If you want to make it even harder, remove your foot off the foot plate. So you reduce the contact point, it reduces stability, and you're only then able to drive through the knees, versus where a lot of people do is when it gets hard, they start driving through their foot, the knee starts coming off the pad. So when we're training muscles, make sure that we're training them in as much isolation as we possibly can, and that you're making every single movement as hard as you possibly can. It's so easy on something like that to put 35 kilos on it, and I've done that. And every time I do it, my form gets a bit sloppy, and I get hurt. So don't do that. Move with good form, move with good execution. Take our time when we're moving the load. and making sure that we're pausing in the end ranges. You know, we don't really ever get to train our adductors for a full range of motion other than doing that machine. So spend time in those ranges where we don't usually go to. You're probably going to find your likelihood of injury is actually much less as well, because you're able to control tissue in that fully stretched position, which if we look at where most injuries occur, it comes bottom of a bench press, the bottom of a deadlift, the bottom of a squat. So if we can build stability around those ranges of motion, likelihood of injury is probably going to be less. Okay, so we are, first one only works out on this now. I've actually dropped the load down about 100 kilos because, to be honest, I was actually just getting a little bit silly in the sense of I was doing 400 kilos on it, but I could feel that execution-wise I was starting to let it slip a little bit, and I was starting to get a little bit of pain in the knees and things of that nature, which I know if I start to get pain, I'm not using tissue that I want to use to move the load. So, shorts are out, rings off, the hat will come off in a second, and this is all like a little bit of a mental thing that I do to set myself up for this. Literally just become like a little thotty girl, get naked. Now, I'm going to take this nice and slow. Tempo is going to be controlled, and I'm going to spend some time in the stretch. I'm going to spend as little time as I can in that rested position at the top, because if I do, it just adds reps to the set that I don't need, that don't really cause anything other than just leave me feeling fucked for days, which there's just no need. You know, take the reps where you can take them. If I'm having to spend more than 2 seconds at the top, the set is done. And I'm trying to feel my legs up. If it hurts, it fucking burns, good. It shouldn't be fucking easy. Right, let's get the tubes on. Oh. Now I've got 20 minutes to finish the session before I need to get on to just demo stuff. Oh. Stormzy. You're cool. That felt good. Oh, felt good that. And I'm not fucked. Tension was exactly where I needed it to be. Now when I finish dieting, I'm not gonna lie, I will definitely run that back up over 400 with that level of execution, that tempo. I think that's something that's important for me to really think about as we get older, especially, is strength progression isn't infinite, but there still are always a way in which we can overload tissue. So if you can make a weight you maybe used 3-4 years ago feel heavy again, feel harder again, just by changing the tempo, just by spending time in the set with the load through the tissue that you're trying to train, you can definitely still progress. You can definitely still build muscle. Now that, zero knee pain, the quads feel fucked, and I don't have a fucked CNS as well from it, which when it starts getting to those heavy loads, 400 plus, you're having to brace so hard. I've got blood actually bursting in my face, I've got a headache, and that's just not right. Just one set done on this, and a rep progression taken. So, yo! Oh yeah. Yeah, right. So, it's a rep taken. Time to repeat that again. Last time I done this, I think second set I dropped like 3 reps, 2 reps on my first set. So the goal is this, just to maintain 12 reps. I've dropped the load down a tiny bit, so should be able to match. And then literally leg press, 300 calories of cardio, which I might not get all of it done. I've got 25 minutes to leave, so I should get about 200, 250 of it done, and I'll finish the rest of it off after I finish my PT clients later on today. So yeah, very good though. Very happy with how things are looking as well. So it's a win-win, baby. As you can see, extremely flat as well. Extremely flat, which is good because done 2 back-to-back high days, Friday, Saturday. Come up about a kilo and a half, 1.6 kilos come up from that, which is it's kind of what you expect when what I was expecting when I ran those. And I think for me, I'm one of those people, I actually don't need a lot to fill me up. And I also don't need 2 days. Like, for me, 1 day at 600 carb, 650 carb, even 500 carb, tops me up enough to then dig in for another few days. So, probably not going to run a high day this week. I have got a meal out with the missus on Sunday, so I'll run baseline food there, which is just a rest day, 1700 calories. So I'll probably run 1000 calories before the meal. And then I'll probably finish the night with a creamy. But yeah, that will be my higher calorie bonus for the day. To be honest, I probably will actually just pull fats down in that day as well, and I'll just go 2 turkey meals, 1 fish meal, have the meal off, and then have a creamy for dinner. And that'll pretty much be that day. That'll probably see me come up about a kilo, I reckon. But by Sunday I should be at a new low. And then it'll just be a case of, from that, drop that water off, assess the look. And then if the look is where I kind of want it to be in terms of condition, I might even just start reversing out once that initial bit of water is off. So that'll probably take me to Wednesday. So Monday, Tuesday I'll dig, I'll get back to normal plan, not dig. And then Wednesday I might even start reversing calories up just a little bit. We'll kind of play it by ear. If I'm still not in a condition I want to be by next Saturday, I will dig for another week. And then I go away, I've got Drake in Manchester, so we'll see how we look. But that's kind of like the provisional plan in my head. I mean, to be honest, I don't really need to get any leaner than this. It's just for pure enjoyment of just doing shit that other people can't do, and not needing a goal to be driven by. Just showing that when you have an undeniable focus, you don't need to have an immediate goal to chase. Just the focus is just progression every single day. You know, I think having something to aim for maybe helps me buy in that little bit more, but also for me creates a ton of pressure around the situation, which I don't really like. So yeah, let's fucking lock in. you'll have seen there as well is, as I'm coming down, what tends to happen with a lot of people is they let their leg turn out. We then shift the line of force. That's why a lot of people get pressure and pain in their knee. Because as I come down, my knee turns out, my hip rotates out. That line of force is now kind of going like that. And I mean, that already hurts my knee. So if you're doing a leg extension, hip, knee, ankle, straight line the whole time. The key to think right here is just have the knee facing forwards and up the whole time, and you're going to be good. Right, I don't really have time to rest on this, so I'm going to get straight into this. Just one set. Literally just one set. Many as I can. The good thing about this is where it's got multiple loading pins, you can actually adjust the resistance profile on it slightly to make it drop off a little bit at the top and make it super heavy in the bottom. That way I can kind of bias glutes in that stretch position a little bit more. Just what I'm trying to get out of this. So when these machines do this, it's absolutely perfect because it works really well, because you can actually adjust it to get what you want out of it. Yeah, just one set here, and you'll see, keeping constant tension the whole time. I'm trying to get as much range as possible as well, which is why I've got this behind me. Yes. One observation I will kind of say, and something I've actually noticed, is I don't actually need bloods to get done to confirm this either. But I know as I'm getting leaner, my ability to drive my test that little bit higher is definitely there. As you can tell, I'm not aromatizing at the same rate that I would usually. And a real telltale sign for me when estrogen is too low or prolactin, progesterone is kind of skewed in terms of the ratios, is I actually get really dry skin. And I adjusted my dose last week. I think I actually missed a test shot, but I actually done the primo, and I can see my skin is really dry, so I need to adjust the ratio. To be honest, I'm probably actually going to just try and run just all test. Test is best. I want to just see what happens if I ran just 500 test, or maybe 400 test, 100 Mastron, and just see how I feel. So I'm actually going to adjust that dosage in as of today, just to play about and just see. You know, for me, I don't really give a shit what I use. I'll just make the total milligram up from whatever makes me feel best. And definitely can feel estrogen is a little bit low, as I've been a little bit emotionless as well. So I'll bring that up. You don't see me do this set.
that is legs done. That is PT for the day done. And it is now time to just literally sit here, dig into work for the rest of the afternoon. It is 1:45, and I've got a new person set up. And I also am very, very, very heavily invested into self-development. So I've got on one screen my client that I'll get set up on here, and on the other I have got a masterclass from a mentorship that I'm involved in around sales and funnels. Because for me, this is not just about running a coaching hobby, this is about running a coaching business. So it's actually a conversation I had with a client today after I posted something that pissed someone off, and it's actually ruined my day pissing that person off, because I really do like them. However, this is something that I guess is very fitting for this video now, because it's one of those, you can't please everyone, and this is very fitting for what went on. So for me, it's about now refining my messaging, refining how I talk, refining my image, as I think I'm very much one of those people that doesn't take life too serious, but sometimes I'm a bit rude in the way that I do deliver messages, which isn't me. You know, it is me, but it's not me in the sense of the professional the professional side of me. So time to learn, time to get better. Basically, time to just dig into work for the next however many hours it takes. Probably 4 hours, to be honest. So yeah, this is literally me.